There is a particular kind of image that stops you mid-scroll. Morning light through a linen curtain or a ceramic mug of something steaming. An open journal to a page of neat, unhurried handwriting. Or plants, always plants. And something in you slows down when you see it. Something in you thinks, I want that. Not the mug, not the curtains, but the feeling underneath it. The feeling of a life that is calm and intentional and quietly, effortlessly beautiful. And here's the thing that nobody sees out loud about that image. Someone worked hard to make it look like no one tried. There is a word for this in Japanese aesthetics, wabi-sabi or wabi-sabi. The beauty of things that are imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. And the irony, the painful, almost funny irony, is that we've taken this concept, this ancient philosophy of accepting imperfection, and turned it into an aesthetic to perform. We curate our imperfections, we stage our simplicity, we filter out authenticity. And in doing so, we have created something new and quietly exhausting. The pressure not to be beautiful, but to be beautifully unbothered. Not just to have a good life, but to make it look like the good life arrived without effort. I want to pause here and ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it. When you share something about your life, how much of what you show is what's real? And how much of that is what you wish were actually real? Not as a judgment. This is just an honest question. The cost of maintaining a curated life is something we almost never talk about. Not just the time nor the effort, but the subtle accumulating cost to the relationship with your own experience. Because when you're always one step removed from what is happening, already thinking about how it will look, already composing the caption, tilting the light, you're actually not in the moment. You are producing it. And there is a version of this that goes very deep, where you start to lose the ability to enjoy something unless it is shareable. When an experience that no one sees starts to feel somehow less real. The philosopher Byung-Chul Han writes about this, about how the compulsion to share has quietly replaced the capacity to simply be. How the exhibition of life has become a substitute for the living of it. That is not a small thing. But here is where I want to offer you something different from the usual response to this conversation, which is to say, put your phone down, be present, stop performing. Because I think that advice, while true, misses something crucial. It misses the fact that the desire behind the curation is not vanity. It is longing. We are longing for beauty, for calm, for a life that feels intentional. And those longings are not the problem. The problem is that we have outsourced them. We have made them dependent on how things look rather than how things feel. And the most beautiful life, the one that actually satisfies that longing, is not the one that photographs it well. It is the one that feels like something when no one is watching. Wabi-sabi, in its truest form, is not an aesthetic. It is acceptance. It is the bowl with crack in it that gets filled with gold in Kintsugi. The Japanese art of repairing broken things with precious metal rather than hiding the damage. The crack is not a flaw to conceal. It is the history of the object made visible. It is what makes the bowl singular. Your life is like that. The unfiltered morning, the unwashed hair, the cold coffee, the to-do list that overwhelms you. That is not the opposite of beauty. It is beauty in a form that doesn't yet know it's beautiful. It is the texture of a real life. And real lives, actually lived, are the most interesting thing in the world. Here is what I want to know from you. Is there something in your life right now, something unpolished and unfinished and not yet shareable, that is actually more honest and more yours than anything you've posted recently? I'd love you to tell me about it. You do not need to stop appreciating beauty. You do not need to stop creating even. But perhaps, just perhaps, you could start noticing what moves you before you reach for a way to share it. Let the morning light land on you before it lands on your camera roll. Let the feeling arrive fully before you translate it into content. Because the most beautiful version of your life is not the one that other people can see. It is the one that you actually get to live. And there's something quietly, profoundly gorgeous about a moment that belongs entirely to you.